Hey everyone, Durrani here from VG247, and I don't hate Outriders, but I don't love it either. There's a big split with the players' response to Outriders, with some players praising its Diablo-esque gameplay loop in the endgame Expeditions game mode, and some players not even reaching the Expeditions part of the game because they couldn't turn a blind eye to the game's lack of polish, which I really can't blame them for. I'm around 20 hours into Outriders and I finally reached the end game, and long story short, Outriders doesn't do much groundbreaking in the looter shooter genre, bar one thing that I'll speak about here, but there are a few good points I'm going to highlight quickly. Here are 4 things that I don't hate about Outriders, but I don't love either. Modding. The modding system in Outriders, in my opinion, is the sole reason Outriders will keep any form of player base going forward. The reason I say this is because it's a tinkerer's dream. You can collect mods from any weapon or armor piece and then reapply the mods to any piece of gear that you have in the modding station. You can collect the mods by dismantling the weapons or armor it's attached to, and even legendaries, which have crazy mods. This gives players room to be creative with their builds and min-max to their heart's content. There is a lot of options, and I'm already seeing some crazy builds surface on YouTube and over on the Outriders Reddit. They should have made a bigger deal in-game about the modding system and how important it is, because the loot in this game is everything. Not a lot of looter games have got me this excited to see a blue drop because it's got a mod that's not in my collection. And if you get a god roll and a weapon that's not up to your level, you can just level it up and bring it with you if you've got the materials. Looter shooters in the future should definitely look to Outriders modding system for inspiration going forward. World tiers. You and your enemies are always growing in strength, but there might be a time that comes where the challenge becomes a bit too overwhelming, or you just can't be bothered to shoot a bullet sponge for 10 minutes because some of the enemies are just way overtuned with damage, and I need to know where the AI went to sniper school because they never miss a shot, ever. That is where world tiers come into play. On the fly, you can simply lower the difficulty level and be on your merry way until you get some better gear. Then you can raise the world tier back when you're cruising a little too hard. This gives the game a lot of accessibility. Sometimes I don't want to go back and replay missions to farm gear just so I'm at the appropriate level to clear a boss. That is long. So instead of me going up to their level, I can just bring them down to mine. This came in handy during my solo playthrough where all I wanted to do was breeze through the story without too much challenge, because me personally, I don't play these sort of games for the story too much. I just want to breeze through and experience the endgame expeditions and experiment with some of the builds that I spoke about earlier. Abilities. It is not enough to kill your enemies with bullets alone. You gotta do it with some style, and the abilities in Outriders 100% have style. I think from a game balance perspective, it is hard to create an over-the-top ability and not absolutely break the game, but developers People Can Fly seem to not care because the balance is an absolute shambles, but it is fun. Remember that? Remember when we wanted to have fun in video games? And this is further amplified when you're playing as a team. If someone in your team doesn't say happy feet, wombo combo at least once, then you're doing it wrong, because the abilities combined together really does leave you in awe for a moment. I played the Pyromancer and the moves are great, but the Trickster's abilities, for example, in action, man, they do look really cool, and I might have to swap to it once I finish turning people to ash. The games in the looter shooter genre prior to Outriders all have some form of roadmap of what's to come through DLCs and planned content, and if you didn't know, these are categorized as live service games, meaning they're intended to further monetize the game beyond this release. But with Outriders, as I said, this is it. What you see is what you get. There's no DLC currently planned, and I love this because as it stands, I'm currently subscribed and invested into way too many live service games, and I know this is a weird reason to like a game, but where I can, I like to play a game, experience it, and then leave it alone. That being said, Outriders does have a lot of content in it. After playing the story and going back to do side missions, I realized you can easily get up to 50 hours of playtime here, and the side missions, this is just a side note, the side missions are way more interesting than the main story missions are, in my opinion. And the endgame expeditions are a playground for your builds to further your game's length, if that is your thing. So there you have it. There's 4 things that I don't hate about Outriders, but I don't love either. I'm Durrani from VG247, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and check out our articles on Outriders. Take care everyone, and I hope you get that loot drop to complete your build. Peace out.